All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakaha Kwadash. A double honors unto the apostles and elders of JMS Great Millstone, and a sincere Shalom to Yakim, bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. And this is Lamback in the spirit from the brother Akasha Kwala from ATL, his video concerning the Kangaro court, man. Watch and subscribe to his video. Subscribe to his channel so I can watch the video and subscribe to his channel. I posted basically his video to my channel as well, but it's a Lamback off of his video entitled Kangaro Court, Your 5th and 14th Amendment Tossed Out of the Window, right? And what he went in on was basically the trial concerning Yahweh Shai, in Matthew the 27th chapter. Basically how Yahweh Shai didn't have a fair trial. And it's the spirit because, Elder Yashawambo, he always mentions this. Hey, that when we get persecuted, which is going to happen soon, that it's not going to be fair, man. All odds, quote unquote, are going to be against us in terms of this society's standards, right? So let's get into, a few of the points that the brother made as well, the brother Kashakwala made, and then we're going to get into another account because all the prophets, of ancient, went through kangaroo courts to where all odds were against them, man. So what is a kangaroo court? And I got it off of ChatGPT here, right? So I said, what is kangaroo court in layman's terms? It says in layman's terms, a kangaroo court is a fake or unfair court, right? And we understand that we're going to be in a position of, having the unfair hand, right? Because ultimately Eve wants to persecute the men of the Lord, man. When we go into the book of Matthew, the 5th chapter, matter of fact, let's grab it here. This is Matthew 5, and I'm going to start here at the 10th verse, and it reads, Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Right. So there it goes. Just another portion of being or having an unfair trial. Right. It says, rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. So when we read this in the NLT 10 down, it says, the Most High Yahweh blesses those who are persecuted for doing right. And that's ultimately what we're going to be persecuted for, man. For standing in great boldness in the face of those that have afflicted us. By wanting righteousness to be established upon the earth and telling Jake and the rest of the heathen nations, the judgment of Yahweh Bashim Shah to come, right? Ultimately declaring the whole gospel, right? It says, Yahweh Bashim Shah blesses those who are persecuted for doing right, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. And Yahweh Bashim Shah blesses you when people mock you and persecute you and lie about you and say all sorts of evil things against you because you are my followers, right? And we understand that if Yahweh Shai had to go through it, the scriptures tell us the servant is not greater than his Lord, right? Which means we follow in the same lot as him. 12, be happy about it. Be very glad, for a great reward awaits you in heaven. And remember, the ancient prophets were persecuted in the same way. And that's the important thing to note, man. The ancient prophets were persecuted in the same way, us being in the same lot that we're in, means what? We're just going to go through the same type of persecution. But this time, we receive that victory, right? Because this is the last time we're ever going to be persecuted. This is the last time we're going to be under Esau's jurisdiction in courts, right? After this, comes the kingdom and world without end, in which we're ruling. Lord willing, we be those men, of the government of the tabernacle of David, man, of the elect. Right, this is Matthew 10 and 17. Right, it says, but beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues. Let's go into that word councils. Right, for they will deliver you up to the councils. G4892. It says an assembly, especially of magistrates, judges, ambassadors, whether convened to deliberate or pass judgment. Meaning what? The power to put you in jail, prison, or to death, right? It says any session or assembly of people deliberating or adjudicating Right? It says the Sanhedrin, the great council at Jerusalem, consisting of the 71 members, scribes, elder, prominent members of the high priest families and high priests, president of the assemblies. The most important causes were brought before this tribunal, inasmuch as the Roman rulers of Judea had left it to the power of trying such cases, and also pronouncing sentence of death, with the limitation that the capital sentence pronounced by the Sanhedrin was not valid unless it was confirmed by the Roman procurator, right? Basically a major court, man, where the final Roman official had say so. Hence, Pilate and Yahushua is a trial, as that brother Kashakwala brought out, right? Now to continue, this is 18. It says, and ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. Much like in the account of Stephen, which that's the account I want to focus on for this lesson. How our forefather Stephen also went through a kangaroo court as Yahushua did. Right. So getting back to this, it says a kangaroo court is a fake or unfair court. It's when a group pretends to hold a legal trial, but the outcome is already decided. It's premeditated or it's predetermined, right? It says, and the process is biased or dishonest. And we understand with Esau having the power of the pen, right? The power of the court, that is going to be, it won't be in our favor, right? It says, think of it like this. Imagine someone is accused of something, but the people in charge of judging them aren't really interested in hearing the truth, right? They've already made up their minds. They might ignore evidence, not allow a proper defense, or break the rules of justice. That's a kangaroo court. It's often used to describe unjust situations, like when someone gets punished without a fair chance to explain their side, right? So the brother also brought out the 5th and 14th Amendment, right? Now, the 5th Amendment is this because it throws out this 5th Amendment, right? And that's why he brought it up in his lesson, basically saying your 5th and 14th Amendment will be tossed out the window. This is the 5th Amendment. It says the 5th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution gives people important legal protections. And in layman's terms, you don't have to say anything that could get you in trouble, meaning plead the 5th. No double jeopardy, meaning you can't be put on trial twice for the same crime if you are already found not guilty. It says you can't be punished without due process. The government has to follow fair legal steps before taking away your freedom, property, or life. A right to a grand jury in serious federal crime, meaning what? Before being officially charged, a group of citizens must first decide if there's enough evidence for the trial. And then it says, in short, the 5th Amendment protects your right to remain silent, not to be tried twice, to get fair treatment, and be fairly compensated if the government takes your stuff. So the 5th Amendment is going to be thrown out the window, as he brought out as well. But you don't have to bring out these a few of these same facts as well, because it's important to understand this, right? Especially with our walk. There's nothing that we will be able to say in that day, to how could you say it? Get a fair trial, man. There's nothing we could say in order for Esau to be like, oh, well, that makes sense. No, the scriptures tell us this, right? This is the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter, right? 12 and 10. And it reads, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our power, and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. And when we go into this word accuser here, is going to go into the word categoreo, right? G27:23 says to accuse before a judge, to make an accusation, right? He has all of our videos, all of our audio of us speaking against his kingdom. So all of these things are going to be brought out in court, man. It says to be a plaintiff, to charge with some offense, to accuse, to object, right? Before a judge, absolutely, to make accusation, right? He's going to put us in the public eye as being criminals. He's going to paint the picture and the narrative to how he wants us to be seen in a specific light, to criminalize us, man. Even though all we're doing is reading the scriptures, man, bringing out the word of the Lord through the Bible, right? It says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death, right? Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time, right? So Esau is basically trying to collect evidence and build a case for the men of Yahweh Shem Shai. And this is what it says in the book of Revelation 2 and 10, right? Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer, right? The Lord is letting us know that, hey, we will be going through this, right? Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Showing you that, hey, we will be in front of those courts, will be cast into prison as the prophets of old. Hey, but this is just part of the lot of being a man of Yahweh Shem Shai. As the scripture says, hey, that bitter, this is part of counting that cost, man. Understanding that our lives, are going to be ultimately, Esau is going to try to break us by putting us in these situations, man, right? So I asked, doesn't that mean Prophet Stephen went through kangaroo court? And it says, yes, you could absolutely say that Stephen, the prophet, went through a kangaroo court using modern layman's terms. Here's how that fits. Stephen was falsely accused of blasphemy. The Jewish council, Jake, right, brought in people to lie about what he said, as they did Yahweh Shai, right? All the dirt that Jake was trying to stick on the name of Yahweh Shai, none of it stuck, man. All the dirt they were trying to throw on his name, none of it stuck. Much like Stephen. And that's why when we go into the book of Acts 6, and it speaks about how, Stephen goes into the account, he goes into history on Jake. And at the end, they ultimately stoned him, right? But let's get into some of it. Right, here it is. It says in Stephen, Acts 6 and 8, and Stephen, full of faith and power, did great wonders and miracles among the people. Right, and we understand those miracles and wonders are going to come back soon in the days that we're in. Right, it says, then there arose certain of the synagogue, which is called the synagogue of the Libertines, and Cyrenians, and Alexandrians, and of them of Sicily, and of Asia, disputing with Stephen, and they were not able to resist the wisdom and the spirit by which he spake. When they suborned men, which said, we have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and against Yahweh. And they stirred up the people, and the elders and the scribes came up upon him, and caught him, and brought him to the council, and set up what? False witnesses, which are lies, which said, this man ceaseth not to speak blasphemous words against the holy place and the law. For we have heard him say that Yahweh Shai of Nazareth shall destroy this place, and shall change the customs which Moses delivered us. And all that sat in the council, looking steadfastly on him, saw his face as it been the face of an angel. Right, so there it is, Jake accusing Stephen, by saying, oh, well, he did this, he did that, not even understanding that nothing in which Stephen was proclaiming and preaching was incorrect. It was all true, as was Yahweh Shai. Right? It says the pre-decided outcome. The leaders had already made up their minds. They weren't interested in justice or hearing Stephen out. Meaning what? They wanted him killed. They wanted him put to death. Whatever evil, they all wanted it to come upon him. So how much more in the times that we're living in? Being that this is the last kingdom that he is ever going to rule. Right? It says no real defense was allowed. Even though Stephen gave a powerful speech through the Spirit, it didn't matter. They were enraged and rushed to stone him. So yes, his trial was unbiased, unjust, and driven by anger, not truth. That's exactly what a kangaroo court means in plain terms. So we're going to go through the same type of hell, man. Right? It said he got dragged into the kangaroo court. They made up charges, and that's what we read in Acts 6. The judges were biased. They weren't looking for truth. They had already condemned him. That's why they brought him to court. The court wasn't to see if he was guilty or innocent. That's like it. The court wasn't to see if he was innocent. It was to prove that he was already guilty. That's why after his speech, it didn't matter. During his speech, it didn't matter what he said. When he was going in the spirit, it didn't matter what he was saying, because Jake had already made up in their mind that they wanted to put him to death. Right? They skipped sentencing and rushed the punishment, right? So it's a textbook example of kangaroo court. So how much our walk? But we understand the scripture says this, right? Because ultimately the Lord is going to be the one to acquit the righteous, right? But as the scriptures say, he will not acquit the wicked. This is Revelation 2:17. It says, he that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that receiveth it. And this is a custom back in the Roman courts, that those that were given the white stone were considered innocent or acquitted, you know. And those that were given a black stone were guilty. And ultimately Esau is going to get the black stone and we'll get the white one, because the Lord say he will not acquit the wicked, right? But the righteous he's going to pardon. And those are his servants, man. Lord willing, you know, we be of that number. But it's not going to be fair from here on out, man. All the persecution, all the AI using is going to be trying to put us in the worst light possible, you know. We're going to be seen as criminals amongst, you know, the people, man. But the scriptures prophesy to this. This is just how it must go down. You know, so I just wanted to bring this lesson out on Lamback off that Brother Kashakwala's video, you know, to bring in, you know, another account. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying unto the body. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakah HaKodash. A double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS Great Millstone, and a sincere shalom to Yaki in bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. Shalom.